It turned out they were taking only 15 of Melancontree's men-at-arms, as well as Theoluff, Jim's squire, who necessarily had to go with Jim on an occasion like this. That made 16 armed retainers, plus 3 serving women, 2 of them for Geron from Malvern and 1 for Angie, so that the total, together with the 9 men-at-arms from Brian's castle and the 25 from Malvern, made up 53 extra mouths that the Earl would have to feed. This would have been straining the Earl's hospitality if they had been the retinue of only a single guest. But altogether they were 4 such, and gentlefolk of substance as well. This many followers could hardly have raised objections. Jim had only the few minutes necessary to dress himself in proper clothing for the ride through the wintry day, together with the chainmail shirt and other light armor that he wore as Brian did for the trip. His best armor followed him on a sumpter horse under the control of one of the mounted men-at-arms. It was not plate armor, for this was not in general usage here yet, and only the famous or well-to-do had it, men like Sir John Chandos and others around the king himself. But it was adequate to any demands that the 12 days of celebration should put upon it, except that Jim lacked one item for the tournament. "But I can lend you a tilting helm," Brian had said cheerfully as they were mounting up. "You can have my best helm, since the old one will do very well for me. And indeed I intend to take 2 because I foresaw I would need to lend one to Giles." "You're too good to me," said Jim. "James," said Brian with real distress in his voice, "never say that." Jim felt like a dirty dog. The ride through the wintry day, happily it had stopped snowing, had been pleasant and almost invigorating at first. But by the time they had stopped to eat along the way at midday and pushed on through an afternoon in which the decline of the sun matched the decline of their spirits, they were looking forward eagerly to the walls and comforts of Edsley Priory. "I would say," said Brian as they stopped to breathe their horses after ascending a long slope through the tangled woods, "we're less than 2 miles from it now. The fare they'll be able to afford us, James, will be lantern indeed, because of course it is the fasting season that ends with Christmas. But I doubt not that the Lady Angela has added some permissible but more pleasant foods to our baggage, and I know Geron has done so. Why, what's amiss?" He stood up in the stirrups, and Jim imitated him. The woods were thick enough ahead so that they could see no real distance into them, but their ears had picked up the sound of a horse galloping back toward them, and a moment later a mounted man-at-arms came into sight, one of the 3 that Sir Brian, whom experience with trouble had taught to take no chances, had sent ahead as a point party. "My lords," panted the man-at-arms, one of Brian's whose Jim could not remember at the moment, pulling his horse to a sliding stop before them. "We heard a noise off the road to our right, and Alfred, going to see what caused it, found at a little distance another path coming to meet with our road, and there is a place where a party has been set up and murdered. He came back to tell us, I went to see, and we heard again the noise that chilled our bones, the sound we had heard before, like the piping of a bird, but there was none alive there to make. Those dead were a gentleman of some age and a young lady, 2 common women and 8 men-at-arms, all slain, all plundered,